18 years ago, this E30 was driven into a bush and abandoned there.
Then someone found it, got it started, and sold it on. The person that bought it had plans of fixing the car, but when he realized the extent of the damage caused by the rust, he sold it on to cut his losses.
And that's where I come in. I bought this car to restore it to its former glory.
Since buying it, I pulled the engine out, stripped the interior, got the whole car down to a bare shell, and had it delivered here. The next step for this car was to send it to sandblasting.
But before the E30 does get sandblasted, I have to remove all the underbody sealer. It is a thick, rubbery material which protects the bottom of the car from things like salt, water, and stone chips. All the things that cause rust on your car.
So why do I need to strip it? Well, sandblasting a car is actually quite a delicate process. Use a media that is too aggressive or you stay in one spot for too long, you warp panels and you will quickly blow holes in places where there shouldn't be holes. But doing it the safe way means most of the media from the blaster just gets stuck in this gooey under sealer instead of blasting it off. So we have to strip it. While we still had power, I already started the stripping process. And let me tell you now, it is not easy or fun. I used a mix of heat, scrapers, chisels, and wire wheels. But when we lost the power, I had a lot of time to think about it.
But then it hit me. I've been wasting my time. Look at this floor panel, for example. What's the point of me taking my time removing all this sealant for me to just then replace this panel? Wouldn't it be better for me to just remove this panel now before sandblasting?
Change of plans then. We first need to cut out all the rusty panels that we are replacing, and only then can we move on to the underbody sealer.
So the plan is to work my way from the front of the car all the way to the back, removing the panels first and then the undersill. And the first panel that's in my way is the front core support. And then we'll move on to the engine bay panels, the battery tray, the floor pans, and so on and so on. And hopefully by doing it this way, I'll spend less time removing the underbody sealer because that is so hard to do. If you've never done it, I don't recommend it. I think it's the worst job I've done, and it's so hard. Not Sigma.
This is the first corner I'll be tackling, but as you can see, the rust is hiding the spot welds. So first things first, I need to clean it up using the grinder. Now you can see all the spot welds that hold the panel on that I need to drill out. Spot welds are basically massive staples for car panels, and it's pretty much how the whole car is put together. To remove the panels, I need to drill out every single spot weld using a spot weld drill bit, which basically just cuts a big circle around the weld itself. Then there is also a small blob of weld on the end that I need to cut off. And finally,
that was nice because I felt it lift. I even went a bit longer than I should have.
Yeah.
Guys, this is crazy. This is crazy.
Then I moved on to the next ones until Rob realized something.
Oh, we don't need to.
And you stop coming off.
Wait, hold on. You don't need to do that one. We're taking this whole thing off. Look, if you're taking this whole thing off.
Oh yeah, that's just a double line for that.
So that means, in our excitement, we have drilled out spot welds that are holding the cross membrane together, rather than the ones holding it onto the car. So we're moving to the other corner now. Exactly the same thing here. Drill all the spot welds out on the top and the one at the front.
There's a bit of a mess with it.
It's not the cleanest job, but it'll do for now. I can now turn my attention to the welded areas around the frame rails. And in typical Laura fashion, I completely missed my cut.
Oh, so go lower.
You're not even cutting the weld, you're cutting the panel.
Go there. Okay, cool.
Yeah, like literally right here.
The cross membrane is actually butt welded all around the frame, so realistically, I want to avoid cutting it while I'm cutting the welds all around.
What do you think?
I think you made a right mess of it.
Oh, I feel like I'm making a mess of this whole car.
This car is a mess.
Oh.
So I am leaving that for now and moving on to the other side. And I think I'm starting to get the hang of it.
That should be good. That should be good. Okay, cool.
So time to flip the car on its side and start working on the bottom.
That's the cross frame. It's not
Cross frame.
That is the cross membrane. Brace.
Cross membrane.
Membrane just reminds me of biology. So this part here to me looks like one continuous weld. So I'm gonna have to grind it off. But I don't want to cut the frame rail again because obviously I'm keeping the frame rail, so I want to avoid cutting into it and then making my job worse. What I'm thinking is, and I can just see it right now, if I cut it here, so not on the money, give myself some room, here, there's a gap between that part and the frame rail, so there's no chance I'm gonna cut it.
Oh yeah.
No chance.
Oh yeah, just cut that and
Might
then
as well.
we can deal with that later.
Yeah, I mean literally, maybe it'll even come off at sandblasting.
Yeah,
It's so rusty, it'll just fall off,
yeah, exactly.
hopefully.
I know the frame rail doesn't look good, but the bottom of them are actually pretty clean, so damaging them is just making my repair job a lot longer. for no reason. So let's hope I don't cut them. This tab is pretty easy to cut, but there are even more welds lower down in this corner section, which doesn't have that kind of tab, so it's kind of risky. It was actually going pretty well. We were taking our time to grind, chisel, and it was going well. But by the end, the frame rail didn't come out looking that great.
All right, we've come back for day 2. I've come back with way more energy. I'm feeling confident, and I'm gonna get this front end off today.
We're also in a different location.
Oh yeah, we are in a different location.
This was once upon a time.
This is the reason why I don't have electricity in my unit, and because of that, I'm gonna make it very rusty on the floor.
If the landlord's watching this, then that was a joke.
It was a joke. So yesterday when I was here, I thought that this section was one long weld. Because it's so rusty, it's literally hard to tell if it's a spot weld or not. But from Googling and research, that is actually a spot weld. So I nearly cut off a spot weld.
So it was time to clean up the tabs, but that left me more confused. Is that a weld? Are there any spot welds? Either way, we decided to drill out the supposed spot welds.
I'm sure it's a weld as well though. Because look, I've done that pretty good. See? I told you I've come back with confidence. However, let's say I want to lift it. Look, I'm sure it's a weld there.
That's definitely a weld.
Like, is it maybe a model thing? So maybe on some models it's spot welded and other models it's welded. But mine looks like, let me check the other side. This side looks welded too. It feels like a big, long, thick weld.
Maybe it's both. Just do the spot where the spot welds are meant to be, and then we'll just cut a line into it.
Okay, well, I think that's good. I'll do the other one.
So I drilled out the other part where a spot weld might have been, and also cut along the bit that looked like a weld. But the hammer and chisel still didn't lift it. It almost felt like there might have been a spot weld in the middle of the tab, so I drilled that one out too, which eventually did the trick actually. Then there is another weld on the tab right next to it, which I'm also cutting out. A bit of hammering, a bit more cutting, some more hammering, until...
Yes. The whole thing moved.
Get off! You rusty bitch!
You dribbled when you said that.
And now that I know what I'm doing, kind of, I am attacking the other side by drilling out the 3 spot welds, cutting across the weld, and only then going in with the hammer and the chisel.
I think someone's getting a hand at this.
I just love my dog. Yeah. Nigga, my brother taught me how to taste the bag.
Oh yeah. Anyways, it's on. Yippee donkeys!
Yippee donkeys!
We've got one more area I can hit while the car's in this angle, which is up here. They're all spot welds, they're all covered in rust, but there's actually like lumps you can follow on this section, so hopefully it'll be easy.
That is definitely all thin spot weld metal as well.
Yes.
That is not welded on.
That is not welded on.
Well, it is, but
that is not weld lined on.
yes.
You guys already know how this goes. Clean up the area, center punch where you think the spot weld is, try to drill it out, mess it up a couple of times because it is hard to reach, then use the sand belt to clean it up until all the panel is free. Next we can flip the car on its side and well, repeat everything we have already done but on the other side, which showed us a mistake we made earlier.
The sources have lied. There was no spot welds where we just struggled on the frame rail side. I just on this side cut under the weld that is clearly a line weld, and I was like, okay, sand belt it up, clean it up, can't see any spot welds, so let's just try chisel it off, and it's lifting. So I didn't need to do any spot welds, any drilling on the other side that I just did, so.
Maybe that is a lesson to trust my instincts more, because even though my previous research told me that it is held on with spot welds, I was convinced it wasn't on my car. Maybe I should just trust myself more. Anyway, the underside spot welds of the top part of the cross membrane were exactly the same on this side. So rusty that it was hard to see where they are. So we kept missing and having to re-drill bits, but eventually it did come loose. So one more bracket that Rob is cutting off, and finally we get the car off the jig and onto jack stands.
Hopefully I've not missed anything and the panel comes off. I know I have to do some wiggling still, but this rusty panel is about to come off my E30.
I think this is the perfect time to subscribe if you haven't already. The first rusty part of the E30 is finally coming off.
Oh, thank God. You do one.
Oh yeah.
It's off.
Oh yeah.
The panel's off. Oh my God. Look. Nah. I just got probably one of the most rustiest panels off the car. Look. We can just walk in. Oh my God, I actually feel so good right now. Look. It's off the car!
But as with the majority of the car, removing one rusty panel just reveals a bunch more.
I can't believe I actually got that panel off, but there's still so much to remove in the engine bay. Look at this tray over here. It's so rusty, but I have to remove it. Oh, sorry guys, I gotta take this. Hello?
Hello. Hi Laura. I've got an E9, I've just bought an E92 M3. It's got a couple of issues. You got anything to scan the car with?
I've actually got the perfect thing. I'll be right there. Let's go to him right now because I literally just got something exactly for that.
This is Uzi's new BMW E92 M3, and even though it is a beautiful car and he did get a great deal on it, sometimes a deal is too good to be true, because it is. This M3 comes with an incredible 4-litre V8, but as great as it is, they can also have some very expensive issues.
Well, luckily I finally got myself a Carly so I can actually check his car and see if there's anything actually wrong with it.
The Carly offers deep manufacturer level diagnostic scans that communicate to all of the car's ECUs rather than just the main engine computer. This means it can find faults that most generic scanners would usually miss. Some cheap scanners often won't find or clear many manufacturer-specific codes, but Carly does. This is the same technology used in car dealerships in the service departments.
So do you want the good news or the bad news first?
Bad news.
The bad news is that your car's health status is very bad. You have 13 issues found with your car and 2 issues are with the engine. But the good news is that there could be old codes stored within your ECU, and on the app here I can clear the issues, we can go for a drive, and whatever codes come back are active codes.
Yeah, let's do that.
So let's see.
Let's hope for Uzi's sake that these are indeed old codes rather than active ones, because if they're active problems, things can get pretty expensive.
Oh my God, this car's too fast.
The car is definitely driving good, so hopefully the old engine codes will be gone now.
So whatever codes come back right now are active codes, so I'm going to rescan it and hopefully the engine ones do not come back.
So after clearing out all the old stored codes, it's time to find out what's really wrong with this car.
Okay, so we only have 2 issues this time, much better than the 13 last time. Let's show the results. The engine code is gone, which was the main concern, so we can let out a sigh of relief now. We have 1 issue with the roof and 1 issue with the footwell module.
This is because the previous owner upgraded the tail lights from the old halogen ones to the facelift LED ones, but he never coded them in properly, causing the FRM to store these problem codes. But thanks to Carly, Uzi now knows the issues with his car. Thankfully, no engine ones. And speaking of coding, not only can Carly scan your car and find any issues and make suggestions on how to fix them, it also has advanced coding tools and can unlock features for your car. Like when you lock the car, the mirrors automatically fold in.
So if you want to scan your car for any faults that it might have, or code it and unlock some really cool features that you probably didn't even know your car had, make sure you get your hands on a Carly. You can use my code LauraB for 15% off. And yeah, thank you Carly for sponsoring today's video. I guess it's time to go back to the E30 and continue cutting it up. All right, now that Samu's car is saved, we're back here and I'm starting to remove the front L-tray panels. It shouldn't be that bad because most of the spot welds are actually rusted off. Look at these great big holes over here. But I am a bit worried about the spot welds at the back because they're rusty.
There's no space to get your drill in, dude.
And there's no space. And the front end is just the worst part of this car, but let's get cracking.
Once again, it's the same idea. Clean up the area and find the spot welds, but we have a problem here. The panel we're replacing has its lip on the inside of the frame rail, which is a problem because I can't fit the drill into these gaps, especially not further back, so we're trying to find the spot welds on the frame rail side.
Yes. Yes! I see one. Look, right here. There and there, I see 2. I see 2, 3, Okay, I think this could be a shower. And if this does work, it'll make it easier for me because look how much space I have on this side.
With the cross membrane, we were very careful cutting the welds to not damage the panel, aka the frame rail that we are keeping. Now, technically, we are damaging it now by drilling the spot welds out from the outside of the frame rail side, but it's actually not a problem for us. That's because when we put this car back together, we are not going to actually spot weld the panels back in. We will be doing something called plug welding. I will show you what that is exactly on a later video, but all you need to know for now is that this method requires at least one panel to have a hole in it. So technically, it can either be our replacement panel or the panel that is staying on the car.
That is disconnected. These are all disconnected. Laura is drilling the back. That was all so rusty. I think only one of the spot welds needs to be drilled out. But there's also spot welds all along here.
Yeah,
which we still need to do.
Yeah, there's so many on this panel.
I'm actually starting to realize that this project is going to be a lot longer than I thought in the first place, but hey, we're in it now.
We got time.
Now I can move on to drilling out the 2 spot welds at the back, and Rob was giving me a hand with some of the cutting, as well as marking some of the spot welds I missed or not gone deep enough with. But once those were done, the panel was finally ready to come out.
This side is for sure, because it pops out.
That is good.
It doesn't like I bend it. It doesn't like I bend it. Okay, that's good. I broke that. Okay. Okay.
Oh yes, see?
Oh my god, look how much rust. Woo! Second piece, second panel, second part, full of rust, off the Rust E30.
But of course, there are 2 frame rails, so there are 2 of those panels. So we have to repeat the whole process, starting from the front, going all the way to the back. We worked so late into the night just to get this panel off.
Both L pieces, L trays are off the car, and this is how it looks underneath. So on this side is actually the better condition side. Yeah, there's just not as much rust, and I'm pretty happy with everything else. But on this side, however, look at this. I'm actually quite worried about it because the rust is on the frame rail over here, and obviously in the inner arch over here. It's quite a big rusty section, and actually further back, that was there anyway, but look, this whole piece here, whole section is just completely rusty. So, but actually I already have the replacement panels for them sections, so you can actually see a direct comparison, which I think is super, super cool. And obviously when these panels are actually in the car, you can already see. Look how clean that's gonna look. This side is the rustier side than this, right? This is rustier, but this side was on the bit that wasn't as rusty. Underneath, yeah. I'm not finished with the front section yet. There's still one more piece I need to remove, which is this panel over here, which actually holds the battery. I already have the replacement. Again, it looks so shiny compared to this, but if you look how awkward this is, right? So there's gonna be spot welds along here, spot welds along here, spot welds along here, maybe here, definitely here, and around, right? So that's where I'm gonna have to drill all out. But it's awkward to get your chisel in to try and lift it. So I think this is gonna be a really awkward and long panel to remove. So I better just get started because there's a lot to do here.
There are a couple things that make this quite difficult. Firstly, the battery tray is in quite a tight position, so getting the drill at the right angle is extremely difficult. Secondly, this panel overlaps so many parts of the car, like the firewall, the inner arch, the shock tower, etc, etc. Which means there are a lot, and I mean a lot, of spot welds to drill out. And thirdly, there is so much rust, making it hard to even see where they are.
It is so much harder than it looks if it doesn't really look hard enough. I'm gonna chisel around now and try and lift it off. I know for sure that there are spot welds in this middle bit here, but look, how can you see what's there when there's so rust? How can you see what's there when it's so rusty? So I'm just gonna lift the tabs off from the edges, work my way down, and then once that's the last thing on, work my way back. Where's it connected? Drill it out. And hopefully it comes off.
I'm starting by chiseling the panel around the top, going all the way across, separating what has been drilled out. In some bits, I've either missed a spot weld or not gone deep enough with the drill bit, so I am marking those for later. This side part is even worse because underneath it has heaps of seam sealer, almost gluing it together.
Oh my god.
Woo!
The car's vaping.
In most places that there are overlapping panels spot welded together, seam sealer is put over the joint. This is done to just make these joints watertight. Unfortunately for us, it makes it so hard to separate all the panels because it is a very sticky rubbery material, and stripping it off is not easy or a clean job. Then we still have the invisible spot welds to drill out. To make it easier, I'm drilling while Rob is chiseling the panel up. That way we can kind of figure out what it's still holding on to, so we can in a way guess where a spot weld is and drill it out. Then I can go back up top to drill out those few spot welds I missed, while Rob can go on the inside of the car and chisel the battery tray upwards from the top and the bottom just to free it up from all the seam sealer and rust holding it into the car.
Oh my god. Oh my. Oh.
It's out! Whoa! That was so hard. Look how rusty it is.
It may be rusty, but what's underneath is even worse.
Oh my god, I actually think this was the hardest so far. Look at how many spot welds we did.
And I did count it. We drilled out 100 holes just from this small battery tray. How crazy is that?
Today is the last day I can work on the car because I'm going somewhere really exciting, but I'll show you that later on in the video. But for now, we have 3 more pieces to remove off the car. The first is over here. If you look at this side of the frame rail, we have a massive hole. But beyond that hole is another piece of metal. Interesting. Also, further down there, we have another great big hole. So this part of the frame rail does need to be fixed. But this extra piece of metal behind it, if you look on this side, you will see quite a clear bodge job. Someone, whoever's previous owner, has done a kind of weld repair, or at least attempted to. You can literally follow the weld all around this square piece. Look.
Yeah, that's a clear bodge.
When you compare it to the other frame rail, we don't have that, and the car definitely wouldn't have left the factory like this. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut out this whole bodge job, because I need to fix the frame rail and what's in front of it. But if the car's going to sandblasting, I might as well remove this square so that the sandblasting can clear up all the rust behind it.
This, in all honesty, has confused me, because this car was abandoned, found by someone that just got the car running and sold it. That person got a quote for the rust repair and realized it's not worth it, and then I bought it, apparently. But this definitely is some sort of bodge repair section. And as I go on a toilet break and Rob finishes off the cutting, we found what they were trying to hide with that patch.
Oh
Can't do this.
my god.
I have to know what to do.
I've never seen anything like this before.
I don't know how we're going to fix this, Rob.
Wowee.
I have no words.
This is rough. Look at the size of this.
And as heartbreaking as that is, it has got me really worried about what else some of these parts might be hiding.
Okay, I'm just going to ignore that discovery at this point because I have to go somewhere special very soon, so I got to boost my mood.
Somewhere where you're actually going to learn how to fix this part.
Well, I don't know if I'll be able to fix that part, but yeah. Anyways, the other 2 things I have to remove is on the apron. So as you can see, both sides is rusted off. Same on the other side. However, well, there's 2 things. Firstly, I don't want to replace the whole apron. You can get a whole piece where you can just spot weld the whole thing off and on, but then you're going to have issues with having to restamp your VIN. I didn't even look into that at all, so I don't even know if that's hard, but sounds it. Second option that I'm going to go for is little corner pieces of the apron. That's the other side. That's this side. Yeah, so like, I'm just going to use the edges of the corner pieces so I don't have to restamp my VIN. Also, I have so much here that I can play with. I'm not going to replace all the way back here, but I've got all this extra metal and extra shape. And fun fact, this actually came with the car when I bought it. It was in the boot of the car, so maybe they had plans on fixing it, but they didn't.
So surely the guy would have bought these in preparation to fix the car, and he must have been the one to do that bodge job over there.
True say, you know, because maybe he made start on the repairs. But if he was gonna, thank God that didn't stay in his hands, because if he was starting his weld repair with that bodge job, then
God knows what would have happened.
God knows what would have happened here. And now it's in my hands, so. Maybe people are giving up for a reason.
Clearly.
So these pieces of the A-pillar are held in with spot welds all around. So once again, I'm cleaning up the windscreen glue that is left over and then drilling them out. Luckily, there are only 3 on this side and the joint can be split open.
It's off. It's off. Cool.
Then on the other side, we're drilling from the chassis side just because of access. But we quickly realized there must be more than 3 spot welds. So we drilled more, but it still would not budge. Not even a little bit. So we're moving on to the apron. There are spot welds at the top where the windscreen goes into and some lower down as well as where it joins to the firewall. Then it's time for the grinder again. Of course, trying not to damage the panels we are keeping.
Okay, I'm trying to avoid cutting here. It's quite hard. I think we're done here.
Does it come out? Oh, hey.
Is that more rust getting removed than do I hear? It is out. Quite a nice cut actually.
And the same thing on the A-pillar.
You couldn't get more bent if you tried that.
What do you mean? Relax. I'm new to this grinding thing. That's good, it's straight at least. Back there was not straight.
Straight?
Well, it's straight.
Straight in what planet?
It is straight to me. If you look from this angle, it's pretty straight. That's straight from here. You're just looking wrong.
If you tilt your head, yeah, I'm sure.
That is straight from here.
Yeah.
It might not be straight, but hey, a cut is a cut. Now I need to cut over the tab where the spot welds are. Again, trying to be careful to not cut anything we need, especially structural stuff. Lastly, we gave up with trying to split the outside part because we've got somewhere to be. So instead, we are cutting out that section of the A-pillar just temporarily.
Okay. Look at that. Oh my god, look inside. I was not expecting the inside to be rusty, you know. Okay though, positive news. If you look up, it doesn't go that far up the rust. It's just on the edge. Up here is clean. If you can actually try and believe that.
But finally, pretty much every single rusty piece from the front end has been cut. With some surprises and a lot more rust found, I think this project has got a bit bigger than I originally thought.
And with a project this big, I'm going to be doing a lot of welding repairs. So, I think it's only right I do some lessons on how to weld. Let's go to Artec. So I've come to the best place to learn how to weld, and that is where I bought my welder from, Artec Welding, and they're going to be teaching me a lesson today on how to weld. So, I mean, what am I going to be learning?
Today you're going to be doing some MIG lessons. We're going to teach you kind of the basics of how to use a MIG welder. Obviously you're going to do some chassis repair, so we're going to use some thicker wire, we're going to use some thicker plate, and we're kind of going to teach you how to lay a weld. Yeah,
I'm definitely going to need to learn that, because right now I know nothing. So this should help a lot.
I honestly have to give the guys at Artec a massive shout out because they showed me absolutely everything from how a welding helmet works, how to feed the welding wire into the welder, what settings to use, but most importantly, they are teaching me how to do the welds that I will be mostly using on the E30 project. The first weld I'm learning is, to be honest, I forgot what it's called, a stitch weld, a butt weld. I don't fully remember, but this is what I will be using a lot of on that dreaded frame rail and some other bits.
Yeah, you got the right idea. So it's just the torch angle. So
yeah,
we want to go
up, isn't it?
Yeah, you want to be more towards the bottom panel. If it's your first time ever welding, you haven't made a hole, so that's the important thing, isn't it?
It might not have holes, but I completely missed the join. That kind of defeats the purpose, so I'm trying again. This one was closer, but still a bit off target, and also the welds are a bit too far apart.
It's about the same time on the torch, but don't move quite as far when you finish. So literally, you're talking like a couple of mil movement.
Okay.
So I tried one last time, and it came out a lot better.
Oh, no, that's bob on. So yeah, you can see the angles wandered a little bit.
Okay, it's not perfect. I think I struggle keeping things in straight lines, but hey, at least the weld is good. Now with that kind of unlock, it's time to learn how to stitch weld together 2 panels that are next to each other, like I will need to be doing in the pillar sections I cut out, and the quarter panel repair sections as well. So this is quite important.
What in the world was that? That was a hole.
Well, yeah. To be fair, we probably could turn the machine down a bit.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to do that on the car, so let's try again.
Lovely. Proper in the middle.
But now comes the important bit. of joining them together without blowing a hole. And to be honest, I actually impressed myself.
Really good.
Okay.
You know, considering that's your first effectively vertical piece of welding that you've done, it's really good. You know, you'd be more than happy to lynch that back and that would be fine.
But it's now time for the most important lesson today, how to plug weld. Remember when I said earlier that it doesn't matter if one panel has a hole and the other doesn't when I start welding the E30? Well, that's because a spot welder is expensive. I have a MIG welder and I am learning how to MIG weld. That means rather than spot welding, I will be doing something called plug welding, which basically means you fill up the hole with a weld with the other sheet behind it, which then fuses them together, just like a spot weld would. That being said, it's really, really, really important I get this right.
Beautiful. Can you see where it's gone wrong?
Yeah.
So, perfect, other than the fact we missed a bit.
So the weld itself is perfect, but once again, I am not being accurate. So let's try again.
Oh, it looks there, doesn't it? This is where it's really upsetting if you see one when you do it afterwards. No, job done.
This time, no holes, which is great, but I built up the weld too much, which just means it's too thick, meaning I will have a lot of grinding to do to make it flat. So let's try again.
She's on there, isn't she?
Still too much, but again, no hole. So let's try make these perfect.
Okay, that was not in the middle.
Oh, nearly.
Really?
Good build up, but I left a hole. Try again.
So I think what you're doing is you're getting it the right timing and the right trigger time, but we're just missing the hole slightly.
Yeah.
And again.
Oh, you're just missing on the same side.
I missed it again, you know.
It's
in
just
the
a
same
tiny
place.
little bit though.
Is it the right side?
It's getting literally smaller each time. So we've gone from like that to this tiny little bit here. Go on, we got one more. Dom, can you go get the hole punch off my desk?
Sorry.
We might need to punch some more holes.
And while Dom was gone,
Did it win?
I don't think I got a hole.
Perfect.
so finally, a successful plug weld with no hole and not too much build up. Let's just try replicate it now.
So how many you got left? You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 chances. I reckon 2. What do you reckon, Dom? 2 or 3? How many do you reckon?
I don't know.
I reckon it could be the first. We got close. Same distance. Feel free to rest your arm on the table like we did with the stitch welding, you know, one hand guiding, other one holding the torch. Keeps the distance that way because you're not moving away. Other than that, you got it, it's fine. Oh no. Just the tiniest little bit. We've done it again.
On the right side, right?
Yeah, on the same side.
Same side.
What do you reckon?
I think it's alright.
I reckon it's there.
I think it's alright.
You got wire brush it. You
But
can
it's not-
you
it's
can
not in
have
the
the
middle.
victory wire brush of it.
Where's the hole?
No, I don't think so. But am I doing it too light? Maybe. Should I try
Well,
to
I
get
mean, yeah. I mean, if you the zoom on the camera could probably pick it up, but
In the same space again.
the... Okay.
that does look like we've done it now. I think that's it.
Another success. After a few fails, I'm finally laying some good welds down. Let's just hope this can all translate to welding up on the E30 whenever I do get to that stage.
This is like the last 4 spot welds I did, which I think this one is the prettiest. And that's how it looks at the back. So I'm pretty impressed, and I feel more confident that I've actually practiced. I also decided to upgrade my welder, guys. This is the welder I was using today, which you can explain because you know more about it than I do.
You want to do the sales pitch, or? So what we're upgrading is the MIG 181. So for car repair and anything automotive, this is the machine to have for sure. The 180 that you got at the moment is a wicked machine. We've been selling it for donkeys, but this just knocks out the park. It's got what's called easy set, so you can tell it what the wire thickness is you're using. So today we're using 0.6, and you tell it what the work thickness is, and it will set its own volts and wire speed. So for people restoring cars, whether you're doing panel work, chassis work, whatever you're doing, this machine has a setting built in, so it's going to make your life way easier.
Which is exactly what I need for the
Easy's
E30
good.
job. Yeah, easy is good. So I'm feeling a lot more confident after this lesson, ready to play around with the welder, and then eventually ready to tackle the E30. All right, I'm back from the welding lesson, and that went a lot better than I thought. I thought welding would be a lot harder, but in all honesty, I think that welding might be easier than cutting all the rust out. From doing this, I think this project's gonna take a lot longer than I thought it would, but it's gonna be worth it, I hope. And if you wanna see where this project ends up and how it goes, make sure you subscribe, like and comment, but subscribe, otherwise you won't see my videos again. And I'll see you in the next one. It's gonna be an MX5 video. Should I say Sigma Boy again?
Please don't.
I was no Sigma Boy, no twerking. What else can I do?
Where did twerking come from?
The boys are calling. MX5 friend calling. That means there's an MX5 video next. My friend Matt the MX5 is calling.
Yo.